Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sharing Our Stories, a podcast dedicated to promoting and highlighting the Indigenous Women's Entrepreneur Program here in Northern Manitoba. My name is Michelle Pruder, and I am your host. Today with me is Nickia McIvor, an Indigenous entrepreneur who currently is living in Winnipeg, but was born and raised in Churchill and still has strong ties to the community. Nickia operates their own business as a graphic designer. Welcome, Nickia.
Hello. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. And we'll jump right into it. I've got some questions for you. So, my first one is I'm curious about you and your business, and tell me a little bit about what you do and how you came to do it.
Well, my business that I have right now is Midnight Oil Design, and that's just the branding for myself as a freelance graphic designer. And
Yeah.
I've got my own, like I do illustration, I do branding, logos, whatever people come to me with. A lot of logos and work in town, but then I have a few stuff outside of town in Winnipeg, like magazine illustration kind of work.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very good. So, how long have you been doing this?
I've like my business itself.
Yeah. And I guess even going back further, like it sounds very creative and artistic. So maybe even back up more. When did you first start doing art, I guess?
When I first started getting into art as more a focused hobby instead of just something I do on the side of homework assignments was like
Right.
grade 6 kind of area where I got excited into drawing the books I was reading or characters from the games I was playing. And going on from there, I just got into drawing, creating my own stories, creative writing, and still drawing all over homework, even though I wasn't allowed.
And when did it become that graphic art?
I think when I wanted it, when I was considering it as a job,
Okay.
when we hit high school, we had to start thinking about what we were going to do after. And I had to think between, do I want to go into the creative industry or should I go into teaching like how my family has done it before? Like my mom and my grandma are both teachers.
Oh, okay.
And I had to think about it for a few summers, but
Yeah.
I ended up with graphic design. I got a tour of Red River College, and the director of the graphic design program showed me the 6th floor where it was exclusive to graphic designers and showed me their
Oh,
sketchbooks, their
wow.
work in process projects. And I asked her about, like, what about the other programs at the college that are in the creative field? And she's like, nope, you want to go to this one. And so I was, if you say so, then I will.
Okay. So how long then are you in school right now or you're done or
I started in 2019 and I graduated in 2021. And so I've been doing my freelance work since then.
okay. Okay. So going to Red River College, how was that experience for you? Like, was it your first time living in the city or had you been to Winnipeg before? Or, there's a big difference between Churchill and Winnipeg.
Yeah, it was my first time living away from home. And
Hmm.
when I first got there, I was really excited because I was living in the residence right beside the college. So I got to meet a lot of other people going through college. It was a lot of jumping right into the deep end compared to living in Churchill, knowing everyone and everyone's everyone,
Right, right.
to knowing no one. But it was really great because I needed that just to not know where I was. I needed to
Mhm.
see everything to be able to walk and not get to the end of town right away.
Right.
And a very different academically too, because in high school, I got to know everyone from preschool all the way until graduating. And I
Right.
was meeting people in the industry, people who could become coworkers or collaborators, and also uh, more intense deadlines.
Right. Right. And I'm wondering, sort of now, you said you graduated in 2021. What was it like entering the market as a freelance graphic artist? And how did you get your name out there? Like, how did you find work?
Well, graduating, we had to make portfolios that would get reviewed by a few industry workers already. And one person interviewed my portfolio, and his name is James Gillespie. He's an art director for Canada's History Society and like the magazines that they do there. And he
Okay.
saw my work and that it was very full of Indigenous projects and movements and anything, because that's where I like to bring a lot of my creative stuff from.
Right.
So he got me into a comic job right off the bat, even before I had completely graduated. So it was a nice warm welcome into the industry.
Wow.
And same with my work placement that I had at the end of the year was with Up House. And they had me as a summer full-time internship program or
Yeah.
kind of thing. And they had welcomed me in and I moved to Winnipeg instantly, like at the very end or yeah, the very beginning of summer there.
Okay. Yeah.
And just through like meeting Up House and meeting the kayak group, I started to get work in, and I don't know how people found me, to be honest, to hire me for jobs.
Right. Right.
Is a lot of word of mouth.
I totally agree with you. It really is. And often, you get one customer and you do a good job, and then other people hear about it, and then you get another job, and before you know it, word of mouth really does get out there.
Yeah, because I didn't have a website or anything concrete. It's just what people heard about me that or even people like recommending me, like family members or people in
Mhm.
town, is a lot of how I got out there.
Right. And do you find that a good portion of your work is still with Churchill or people in Churchill?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's most of my workload with people starting up businesses,
Yeah.
wanting some logos, or even just recently I did a fishing derby logo that someone wants to get the town together. Small projects, big projects, even murals. I've done 2 murals in town.
Oh, have you?
Yeah,
Oh, that's wonderful. Which ones are they?
I did. The first one I did is in the fireweed cannabis store on the counter.
Okay.
It's all
Yeah.
about the Churchill flora, so like fireweed, the foxtails, the paintbrush.
Very nice.
And the other one is at the Sea North Tours docks of just belugas.
Oh, that sounds so beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow. And it's a good reminder that we really are supported by our communities, and that when we keep business sort of within our communities too, instead of automatically going out of the community to find whatever it is that we're looking for, product or service to buy, if we can buy it within our communities, it just helps our communities stay strong.
Yeah, and I love seeing all the ideas that people are bringing to the town. People
Yes.
bringing in their own companies, their own ideas, something that they want to make an impact, like dog sledding or tourism. A lot of it is
Mhm.
tourism, but it's exciting to see locals getting into it.
Yeah, yeah. So, do you feel like you still have certain skills that you need to develop? Like I know obviously you have your art skills that you've trained for and are very honed, but I'm wondering in terms of other skills that you've noticed that you've developed or need to develop, or even things like business skills. Has there been anything that stands out to you?
Time management, big one.
Okay.
Keeping an eye on deadlines and the different clients that come to me, all of them with their own varying deadlines. Someone could come to me with a project that they need like 2 months from now, and someone will come up to me with a project that they need in a week.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, working on the work-life balance. How can I get everyone's stuff done, but also not burn out, which was a big problem I had at the beginning of me starting my own business.
And it's interesting you bring that up because I think that's something a lot of us and a lot of entrepreneurs have faced, especially when you're new and you don't want to turn down any work because you don't know when the next work is going to come along, right? Or project.
Yeah,
And so you'll take it on, but without that balance and kind of choosing a little bit, uh, burnout is a reality.
yeah. With my first few months of my business, it was like right into the full fire of it, doing my full-time internship during the summer, as well
Right.
as what I did with James was an 18-page comic. And so it was very like, okay, how can I balance these two big jobs, but also stay sane?
Right. Right. When do you get your downtime and time with family and friends?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, how do you think you've been able to get more of that balance now that you've been in it for a few years?
A lot of it was trial and error, knowing when I had too many jobs on my plate was just me learning it because I had taken too many jobs on. At
Yeah,
one point,
yeah.
having 9 jobs, I was like, this is a lot, and should say no. And because I want to give enough time and quality to the clients too, as much as I want to take in work and say, of course, I want to help you out. But if I don't have the energy for it, then it's not helping either of us.
That's a really good point. And really, when we're saying no to one thing, we're saying yes to something else, or vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So, Nickia, are there any other skills that you can think of that are important to develop?
Yeah. One of the big ones that I had to learn was how to send professional emails. I don't want to send something that is rushed. I want to make sure that they know that I'm being attentive to the clients, but I also don't want it to be too dry. So having to
Right,
find a way to like get my personality across, but also not be saying something too unprofessional. It's a lot of,
right.
I had a class about it in my college specifically for professional communication and resumes and cover letters in that area, which was
Okay.
really helpful.
Yeah, I didn't realize that there were courses on that, but it is so important as a business owner. And you're dealing with the public and dealing with people who, um, like, I know when I sent you an email and you responded very promptly, and your email was very friendly, but it was professional, right? But it had a
I'm
friendly
glad.
tone to it. And I'm not sure how you achieved having that friendly tone, but I could tell right away that you were very open and friendly.
I'm glad. I want people to be excited when they work with me, or because I'm excited with them and I hope it rubs off on them. I just get
Mm-hmm.
really excited when anyone messages me about work or this. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, and I'm thinking too, sometimes as a customer, when you're approaching a business or an organization or whoever to ask about a service, as the customer, you're not really sure about the service, or like you don't know the prices, or you might not know very much about it. And you're just reaching out kind of like, I'm interested. I heard about you and I'm wondering. And as that owner, it's so important that you are able to respond in a way that kind of reassures people that, yep, you know what you're doing and this is what you offer and how you can help.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Nickia, is there anyone who's influenced you or helped you along the way in terms of it? Maybe it's family or any mentors or people that you've looked up to?
Yeah, I have both like family and friends cheering me on and even giving ideas for possible projects, like
Yeah,
going through school and then getting into my business. I had both my fiance and my family like by my side, especially when things got into like a burnout stage. They cheered me through it. And then mentors, I've had I've had a couple in mind, a few being instructors from the graphic design program.
right.
Like Darren or Krista were my instructors for typography and illustration, respectively. And they were so excited about teaching and being there. And like, how do I say it? Like when I saw that I was going to have a typography course, I thought that wasn't going to be for me. I got into graphic design for illustration and to
Right.
see how can I expand on it. But learning about typography was strangely one of the most exciting classes that I had. And
Okay. What is typography?
it is, like my teacher said, it's everything. It is everywhere. It is the signs on restaurants, it's menus, it's advertisements on billboards and TVs, it's what's on your phone, it's what's on the laptop in books, book covers, brochures,
Okay.
everything. And he stressed how important it was and made it fun to learn about, and
Wow.
with little fun facts on the side.
What a
Like,
great teacher.
yeah, here, a quick fun fact that I always think about with typography. The reason why they call them uppercase letters was because back in the printing press days, they actually had the capital letters on the uppercase of a drawer to pull out, and then they would pick the individual letters and put them into the press.
Oh my goodness. That is
Yeah.
a cool fact.
See, it like blew my mind. I'm like, it's even in our wordage. Typography is everywhere.
Right. Right.
And then industry mentors, once I got out of college, I had Sarah from Up House. She's the senior graphic designer, and her work is colorful and beautiful. And she was able to get her ideas across and like rationales and emails, and then even presenting to clients with ideas so well.
Right.
Or James Gillespie, the art director that I mentioned.
Yeah.
Me and him would meet up for lunch every once in a while at the beginning or end of projects. And I would tell him about my ideas that I'd have, and he'd give me advice on how to tackle it business wise, creative wise, how not to burn out, and other things in the industry, which was like helpful, which was
Right.
very helpful.
Yeah. Sometimes I think as entrepreneurs, we get very isolated and we often work alone, right? We're sole proprietors. And it's so good to have others that we can share those thoughts, ideas, get some feedback, get some ideas or input
Yeah.
from.
Hmm.
So, Nickia, do you have any advice for other women or other Northern entrepreneurs who are perhaps just thinking about starting a business or have launched a business and are still quite new to the idea of entrepreneurship?
Yeah. I think the main advice I want to give is to not undersell yourself. That's something I would be worried about is, in both pricing and how you value yourself and your work,
Right.
is to understand what you're doing is worth it and believing in the efforts that you put in.
That's really good advice. And I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with, especially when they're new to selling things, because there's always that fear that if you price it too high, people aren't going to buy it. And yet we know that if you price it too low, you're not going to make any money. And you're not going to be in business for very long.
Yeah, it's finding where you're comfortable with and believing in your pricing too, that you are worth that. And if people
Right.
if people don't want to pay it, then they aren't for you. But
That's right.
There are people who appreciate the work that you put in.
Yeah, it's really knowing your target market, right? And knowing who your customers are. Well, it's been so nice meeting with you today, Nickia, and thank you for sharing your wisdom and all of your knowledge with us. And I wish you all the best in your endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was very fun.
Bye. To learn more about the Indigenous Women's Entrepreneur Program or any other business services that Community Futures offers, visit our website at northcentraldevelopment.ca.